Hi everyone, this is my first recording, and as you can see, I'm coloring Pikachu and Arbok. So the reason why I started this drawing in the first place was because, first disclaimer, my head pops in the corner at the bottom there because I have a very makeshift way of recording. So my head pops in on the left, and I apologize for that in advance. But anyway, I was saying that Pokemon Go came out, and when I hatched my first Pikachu from an egg, I was twisting it around, and I really wanted to draw it from behind. So then, yep, my friends, sorry about that. So then, I was looking for more reference for the colors in my Pokemon Pokédex. I have a book. And I noticed that Arbok was the Pokemon right before Pikachu. And so I thought it was very interesting that, first of all, being natural enemies as a rat and a snake, and also being Team Rocket's first Pokemon choice and Ash's first Pokemon choice, that they were very known to be natural enemies. So I thought in the real world it would probably be a lot more dark, with Pokemon being eat or be eaten. Would Arbok, being the snake, eat Pikachu the rat, or would Pikachu the electric mouse fry Arbok? So that was the situation that I had in mind. So right now I'm starting to draw the glow that's coming from Pikachu, and I'm looking at the finished picture now, and I should have, for the black part of Arbok's mouth, I should have not used the yellow on it, and just use a lighter gray instead, because with Copics, when you use a darker marker over a light one, it gets really grainy, and there's these white spots on the paper that show up, and it would have been better if I had used just gray. So the glow wasn't very apparent before I had made the background, and I realized with the process of this that the background really makes the whole picture, and I should have drawn it first, and I drew it after. You'll see it just appears because I didn't record me sketching it in or inking it. Oh, and here my marker fell apart. I was very confused, and so I banged it on the desk with the cap on to try to get it back on. You could see I'm like, what's happening? Yeah, that's why I slowed the clip down. I just wanted to show that. So anyway, I drew in the background later, and I realized through the process that the background makes such a difference with the lighting, because you'll see later that I did a really bright yellow right on the side, and then after that it got really dark, so it made it very apparent that it was a glow that Pikachu was emitting. Also, in this process, I have the 72B Copic set, and in the process, I used so many colors that weren't part of the same color family, like, to shade, and they weren't that drastically different, but it was just very interesting to use different colors when shading, and it's like, so now I notice it in real life that things are shaded with different colors. So it's very interesting to see your surroundings differently after you've made an art piece. Also here, I added the yellow. Yeah, right here, I added the yellow, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have just made it like a brighter purple, because I didn't understand. I hadn't really used yellow and purple, obviously being complementary colors. I should have noticed that they wouldn't really blend so well. And you can't really see it in the video, but in the picture that I have in front of me, it's a little, like, it became like a sort of brownish, like a light brown. That I didn't do it for the right side of the snake, you see. I just left it. I just used a darker outlining for it. Also, when I was drawing Arbok, I had a very difficult time drawing the body, because I didn't understand how it would coil around itself, and I was just trying to figure it out. And and so I had to figure out, like, I know it's very silly, like, it's simple, but I just had to figure out, because I was seeing it in like on my screen and it was flat, so I just had to figure out how to draw it. And so I use one of my cords to twist it around and see how from different angles it would look different, and that helped me a lot with the process. So using real life things for your picture, even though you're not really sketching from them, is really useful, so you have a 3D model. And that's why in the first place I used Pokemon Go to model my Pikachu off of. Also, for some reason, I wanted to make the Pikachu female. It wasn't really any like eureka moment, this has to be a female, but it was, oh, here, I used the brown instead of a black, because I just have a container and it's standing up, and so all my dark colors are together, and so I picked up the brown instead of the black. I just wanted to show you that. Anyway, what was I saying? Alright, so about the female Pikachu. I've never really seen a female Pikachu in the anime, and I've never seen it in game, and I was looking through, like, Pokemon gender differences, and I just noticed that the Pikachu, it had like a sort of heart-shaped end of the tail. So I was just like, oh, that's neat. I didn't notice it before, so I just decided to put that in, just because I thought it was really cool. And I also looked for Arbok to see if it had gender differences, but it didn't. And I'm such a perfectionist that like every time I got one of the colors in a space that it wasn't supposed to be, I used the colorless blender to push it back in. It's so meticulous. Yeah, it's like for those of you who don't really know how Copic markers work, the lighter the color, it pushes the darker color away. So when you have a marker that doesn't have any color, it pushes the other ones away. So that's what the colorless blender is used for. It's also used for designs. And then here I'm just filling in the mouth, and it was really, really hard on my hand, and my hand was cramping after because it's such a small space, and I had to really hold on tight to the marker. Oh, and so for the Pikachu, I started out with the intention that the cheeks, wait, I'm not up to that yet. Right now I'm just coloring the ears, but you'll see in a second. The cheeks I originally planned for it to be like the cheeks would be lighter because that's where it was coming out from, but then I realized that it was the back and it wouldn't be much lighter, it would just be more shadowed. But by the time I realized that there was too much ink on the paper, and so going over it didn't do much. And so with the Pikachu I had trouble blending after a while because I put so much color on because I kept making it darker and darker, and then I remembered that I didn't do the shading correctly, and then I went over and over, and then I was blending out, and I ended up putting too much ink, so it became darker. Like here you see it's much darker than a normal Pikachu, even with the backlighting. Wait, is it front lighting or backlighting? Since it's like lit from behind, but it's its face. But anyway, so yeah, here you see that I made the cheek space a little bit lighter, and yeah, you could see that it's much darker, and I was trying to blend in the part by its feet, but you could see that it didn't really blend in so well. And also the arms, I was trying to make it distinguished from the yellow of the Arbok, so I had to make the front really light and then the back really dark, as if it was being lit up from the front, and then it cast a harsh shadow on the rest of the arms. So here I'm coloring the tail, and here I was playing around with the settings that I have on Windows Movie Maker, and it was just fun to see all the different lines. And so here you see the background I have in, and I'm just putting a yellow sheen over the front of some of them so that it looks like there's a glow. And then here, as I said before, as I do it, I realize that it makes such a big difference. like, it makes the whole thing much darker on the outside, so it makes the middle look much lighter, and you can really tell that the Pikachu's emitting some electric attack that is glowing up the whole place. So as you can see, I'm using a blue and a purple to shade the green, and it really helped with making it seem like it was nighttime and darkening everything up. And at the end, I show all the colors that I used if you just want to pause the video there, because I know I'm always interested in seeing those type of things, because I want to maybe replicate what they did, but I don't know what colors they use. So you can kind of guess, but usually sometimes the video is not oh, sorry, there's a paused clip. Sometimes the video isn't like on the same what am I trying to say? The lighting they might have changed, so you can't really tell what colors they've used. So I just showed the colors at the end just for anyone who was curious. Oh, so here I made the glow on the grass with it in mind that, like, the middle by Arbok and Pikachu in the middle, I made the glow on the grass very interestingly, so then I went over it after with some greens to put the shadows back in place. Oh, and here I'm darkening up the top, and you can't really see it because the camera isn't as good, and it became really shiny, so that's why I show at the end. I just moved the picture around so you could see it better. So here I got a lot of the inspiration for this drawing from art by Karen E. Haley, her Rattata drawing. The grass and also the lighting from the flowers, and also the ground. And so I was trying to make it seem like it was like a rough ground, and it was very pebbly, and then the Pikachu was lighting up the ground, and that was what was causing the reflection of the yellow little slivers of light. And so I colored it in a ton because I wanted it to have a little bit of a red tint, because I wanted to bring more red from the upper part of the picture down. So it ended up that it got really shiny, and I have to keep this in mind. It got really shiny, so you couldn't see it so well. Oh, and here I'm coloring the eyes. You can't see it so well either. I should really get a better camera. Coloring them green just to bring more green onto Arbok, because there is none. And then I'm adding the shade. I'm just using gray for adding shade. On here I'm going to do the lightning bolts, and I think this also made a really big difference in the whole picture, because it made it really look like Pikachu was attacking, and it's not just like there was just a random glow coming from Arbok's stomach. And also here are the markers. I tried to do a white gel pen by the eyes, but it didn't work because it was too big. The eyes were too small. And there's my doodle scrap paper. And then this was the makeshift setting that I had made, and there's me editing clips. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Here I'm signing my name. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if I have 25 subscribers, I will raffle off a print, and if I get 50 or more, I will raffle off 2 prints. So comment down below what you liked, what you have suggestions, what you want me to draw, anything. I'd love to hear from anyone. And thank you so much. Just like me to mess up on the end. Thanks for watching. Bye.